Hello. We're doing a Seventh Heaven tier list again, where I'm redoing the tier list after my experience with season 6. Some of my opinions might change, some of them might not. Also, I decided to make my own tier list this time, and I added in some characters that I think are going to be very important for us to talk about. I am not where I normally am because I moved. New background will appear at some point. This is a temporary office space I made on my table, so you're welcome. Sorry if you hear weird sounds in the background. I'm running a load of laundry right now. Now, to correct something I did wrong, this right here, S tier. Apparently it has something to do with Japan and gaming. So I was wrong about that in the last video. I don't know what it really means, and I'm feeling too lazy to look it up right now. So it just, in my mind, stands for super, okay? Super, which is better than A, and that's the end of it, okay? No more questions. Okay. Let's get into it. First of all, we've got Annie. Mama Annie. Honestly, Annie this season did not have a single redeeming quality. I can't really recall a moment where I was like, oh wow, that's great. That's the Annie I know. No, menopause has ruined Annie, and I did not like her at all in season 6. She was a monster. Someone in the comment section called me out for calling Annie a Karen in that one episode where she harasses the guy that scammed her. Apparently, according to this person, calling Annie a Karen in this scenario is highly problematic. Their words, not mine, because Annie is defending her family and she's not being racist. So, in my mind, there is no official definition for what a Karen is. You just kind of know it when you see it. Karen is a vibe. I know Annie was trying to do something right for her family, but she went about it in a Karen way. That's not the vibe, okay? Sophisticated, non-Karen kind of people solve their problems in a classy way. Classy, moving in the shadows way of solving problems does not involve going into a hospital room without permission and harassing somebody in front of their attorney.
You are not depressed, and you did not fracture your ankle when you fell off that ladder at my house, you big faker!
That is Karen. That is a Karen vibe, and I stand by what I said. Feel free to nail me up on the cross if that's a problem for ya. Anyway, okay, I'm done feeling feisty. Annie gets a D. Postmenopause Annie is a nightmare. I don't like her. Ooh! Okay. I finally learned this guy's name. Grandpa. His name is Charles. I'm still just going to call him Grandpa because the other Grandpa is Colonel. So there's Colonel and there's Grandpa. And this Grandpa still sucks. Granted, the police chase storyline was hilarious, but also Grandpa is a child.
I'm not a child. I'm a man.
He is a child, even though he tries to say he's not. He is a child, and he needs a babysitter constantly because what a nightmare of a person. F for this guy. Next, Cheryl. Cheryl is my queen. And I think I'm actually going to bump her up this season to an S instead of an A because she broke up with Matt. And she stuck to it. Even when he tried to get back with her twice, she stuck to her boundaries this time, and I admire it, and that's all I have to say. S tier for Cheryl. Colonel! I'm not going to judge his past right now. I'm going to judge season 6 version of Colonel, and honestly, he has changed. I guess that trip around the world with Ruth a few seasons back really has changed Grandpa for the better, and he is more capable of acknowledging his faults. I especially liked in the end when he talked to Eric. That counts for something. So I did like Colonel in this season. I'm going to give him, while slightly considering his past, but mostly looking at this season, I'm going to give him a B. All right, I know that's a lot coming from me. I forgive when I see behavior deserving of forgiveness. People can change, okay? People can change. So B for Colonel. Connie, okay. Another mistake I made in the last video. There was a photo of Sarah, and I thought that that was a photo of Connie. And the reason why I thought that was because I had looked up photos of Connie, and then I saw a photo pop up that was the photo of Sarah that was in that other tier list. And I was like, oh, I guess that's the actress for Connie when she grows her hair out or something. Like, I just didn't really think about it because I saw the picture when I was searching for Connie. No, that was not Connie. I am incorrect about that one. Okay. But Connie is super cool. Connie gets an A. And the only problem with Connie is that she is no longer in the show. She was only in it for like 2 seasons, and that makes me sad. So A for Connie. We love Connie. Dina. Dina was not good to Simon. I don't know what I gave her last time. Probably a D, and I think she still deserves a D. Eric! Okay, I gotta address this as well. Another thing people were kind of surprised about is that I gave Eric an A last time. Here's the thing. Something about me you need to know. I like good characters and good acting. Even though Eric, as a character, is so wrong about so many things and he can be incredibly infuriating at times, he is still so incredibly entertaining, and I just don't think that this show would be much of anything without him in it. Stephen Collins, the guy himself, okay, we don't like Stephen Collins. The character of Eric in the show of Seventh Heaven is kind of what makes the show. Kind of like Michael Scott in The Office, you know, like you hate him a lot of the times, but the show just isn't the same without him. That being said, for this season, I'm gonna bump him down. I didn't like season 6 Eric very much. He was a little bit too unreasonable for me, and it was less of him denying his own boundaries to help other people and more him crossing other people's boundaries to be controlling, and I don't like that. I don't fuck with that. So Eric this season, D. Yeah. Next, Frankie. See. Next character, George. I like George. His backstory is incredibly confusing, but I do like George. Season 6 George was particularly lovely, you know. No complaints there. I'll give him an A. George gets an A. Ginger! My lady Ginger! I like Ginger. I don't like that Grandpa pressured her into thinking that she was the problem for wanting to keep health information from him out of worry, you know? I don't think putting that all on her is fair. Grandpa's trying to act like there's nothing wrong with his brain when he literally 5 minutes ago was falling asleep in a police chase.
You've been treating me with kid gloves ever since the diagnosis, and I'm sick of it.
Buddy, Ginger's not the problem. All the shit she has to go through with Grandpa, A+. Here, I'll put her at the front. A+ for Ginger. Hank! Good doctor, bad husband. So, C. Happy! I put Happy in the A tier last time, and I realized now that was a horrible mistake, especially Happy with a joint. Obviously, S tier. Okay, this was a fun fact that somebody found in the comments. The storyline where Annie just kind of like goes to a little vacation home for fun and then meets this lady named Hattie, who I was like, wait, is this supposed to be like an angel? And they were talking about like, oh, an angel is a friend and a friend is an angel. What's the difference? Apparently, this was a crossover episode from this other show called Touched by an Angel that features this lady, Hattie, and her name is Hattie in that show. So they were actually doing a crossover and trying to imply something about being an angel because the show is called Touched by an Angel. That's so fun. What to do with Hattie though? As a fun fact, super fun. As a character, pretty whatever. So B. We're gonna give Hattie a B next to Colonel. Okay, moving on. Heather. I don't really know what to do about Heather, to be honest. I don't know. I love Heather. I love Heather and Matt together. I think they would have been great together. I think they should have been the end game from the beginning. Having Matt and Heather finally get married and work out their issues would have been a way better storyline than like whatever bullshit they did with Sarah. That was insane. And I just hate how Heather constantly is like off and on with Matt in a way that it almost feels like she's leading him on. If she didn't want to be with Matt, she should have let that go a long time ago. Like before he broke up her wedding. Anyway, Heather, because I'm gonna give her a C.
Jeremy.
I don't like Jeremy. I don't like him. And combined with his dumb accent too.
He said that if I brought it back, he'd work something out.
I'm glad Lucy broke up with him, and just because he's no longer dating Lucy, I think that bumps him up a little bit. So I'm gonna give him a D now that he's not dating Lucy, and we can kind of look from a more objective, unbiased perspective. A D is fine. A D is fine for Jeremy. Jimmy Moon. Imagine a plot line where Jimmy Moon and Lucy end up in each other's lives again. Somehow, for some reason, they bump into each other around town. It's like, oh my god, we haven't talked in so long. And then they reconnect. Jimmy Moon's like, you know what? The dumbest thing I ever did was break up with you when you dyed your hair blonde. Will you give me another chance? And I think that would have been really cute. I like Jimmy Moon with Lucy, even though that was when they were like 12. I don't know. I like Jimmy Moon. Jimmy Moon is pretty cool. He gets an A. Jimmy Moon and Rod are just classic. It's a shame they were not featured in season 6. John retains his spot as an S tier character. And I would like to again state that it is a horrible sin that he was not featured in season 6. I don't think any of the Hamilton family was featured in season 6, now that I think about it. The Hamilton family were once such a staple in this show, and now it's just gone to shit. Next character is this kid, Johnny with a gun. In my season 2 video with the gun violence episode, it came across in my editing a way that I did not intend at all. The point that I was trying to make overall is that the storyline was pretty ridiculous and just felt like a very misleading representation of what school shooters actually are like. So to me, it just felt like a really silly, over-exaggerated plot, and that was what I was trying to goof on. I just didn't word it very well. Obviously, if this was real and there was a kid actually doing this stuff, we would want to look into it, and like the dad is the biggest problem in this scenario. And I should have said that. I didn't. Anyway, this kid sucks. He's not a good kid, and he shot Eric in the shoulder. We're gonna give Johnny an F. Yeah, his dad especially. Dad gets an F-. Dad sucks. Anyway, Johnny. This Johnny also gets an F for being a terrible, horrible human being. Cheats on his girlfriend, hurts his girlfriend, neglects his child, name it all. Like, not a good dude. All right, F. Big fat F. Jordan for dating two sisters and just being so careless with both Mary and Lucy's feelings and just being kind of a tool overall. D. I think D is fair. Ooh, I don't know if Annie belongs with Jordan in the same tier. Okay, you know what? I'm going to be a little nicer to Annie. Menopause is hard. Okay, I get it. Menopause is hard. I'll give you a C, Annie. You are not as bad as Jordan. Dina, yes, just as bad as Jordan. Aunt Julie! I think that Aunt Julie is worse than Hank. I'm going to have a really hard time forgiving my first impression of her when she nearly choked Simon to death. Don't love that about Aunt Julie. That was unhinged and absolutely the craziest thing she could have chosen to do. She's gotten better lately, but I just think she's worse at communicating than Hank is. Is she though? I mean, Hank did not tell her that he's Jewish. You know what? No, they're both the problem. They're both the problem. They both get a C. No, I think her past deserves to be held against her in this situation, including her past, gets a D. Okay, Keisha Hamilton. I think I'll give her a B for being like a positive neutral. Kevin Kinkirk.
That would be me.
I have started watching season 7. I watched the first episode of season 7 at this point, and I'm solidified in my opinion that Kevin is a hot version of a Fedora guy or like a Reddit mod. Just the way that he talks, the way that he acts. He's given me the Fedora guy. But you know what? That's not a bad thing. Okay. I'm not trying to hate on the Fedora guy. I just think that Kevin belongs in the category. That would be me.
The pea-brain moron with a badge.
But how do I feel about Kevin at this moment? I don't really know much about him other than he's a cop and he's super into Lucy. So far in episode 1 of season 7, he seems to actually be really good for Lucy. So I kind of like him. I kind of like Kevin. Based on my current opinion of Kevin, I think he gets an A. I think he's a solid dude. A little strange, a little goofy, maybe. His speaking cadence is unique, but he's a good dude. So A for Kevin for now. Lucy! Oh, my Lucy. I love Lucy. Season 6 though, a little less so. Her behavior in season 6 was a bit unhinged, I will admit. She was a little wacky in season 6, and I think that she's gonna have to be a B. No, she gets an A. I can't give her a B. She gets an A. Lynn Hamilton, also an A still. I don't know. She's so cute. Mary. Okay, Mary's next. Solely because of the story arc with Wilson, where she went like bananas and wanted to elope. Solely because of that, Mary gets an F. Okay, Matt. I gave Matt an F last time. He was a bit better in this season, I will admit. He didn't commit as many atrocities towards women. He was just really desperate this season, and it was kind of embarrassing. Based on my opinion of Matt right now, at this very moment, D. He just jumped into a marriage that is going to be an absolute catastrophe. I hope we get to see what happens there. We'll see. Mike! He gets a C. I don't know. He's fine. He's dating a hot girl. Good for him. I'm feeling pretty neutral on Mike right now. Mrs. Bink. Not a C. Sorry, you get an S. Sorry, I just had to scroll up. Mrs. Bink gets an F. That was an immediate decision I made. I know I was kind of annoyed with her in season 1, but she grew on me. I don't know. She's wacky, she's kooky, and I love her. So Mrs. Hinkle, absolutely, we're gonna give her an A. She deserves it. Nigel, I believe his name's Nigel Hamilton. He's pretty chill. I wish he was still around. He was friends with Simon, like one of Simon's only consistent friends, and now he's he's gone. So we'll put you next to Keisha. Patricia! I like Patricia. She was super cool. She's a really good friend to Annie. She gets an A. Patricia's pretty sick. Ooh, this is Rabbi Glass, Sarah's dad. I have a lot of feelings and opinions about the character. Overall, my feeling is that I really like this guy. Sure, he's unreasonable and strict and a little bit too obsessed with his daughter's life. But while having his emotional, stubborn moments, really redeems himself in the end. Overall, I think he's a good dude. I'm gonna put him in the B category. Oh, Reverend Hamilton! You get a B with your other children who are in the B tier. Just because, you know, we don't see you very much. Not enough. Robbie. I don't like Robbie. Yeah. Bottom of the F tier. I hate Robbie. Next, Rod. We're gonna give Rod an S tier, my guy. Rod is the winner. Why would I not want Rod to be the end game for Lucy? Why Jimmy Moon? Why not Rod? I think Rod is too good for Lucy. I'll die on that hill. Okay, next, Sarah's mom, Rosina Glass. I'm gonna put her next to Rabbi. They're both actually pretty cool characters, all things considered. I feel like they'd be fun to have a glass of wine with and hang out, you know? I would hang out with them. Grandma Ruth! Oh, Grandma Ruth! Not featured in this season. I have nothing to update, so she's gonna be an F. Ruthie grew on me. Ruthie grew on me this season. I gave her a C last season. I think Ruthie is an A. Now, I'm gonna put her at the top of the A list. I liked season 6 Ruthie. I feel like she was at her best in season 6. The boys, the twins, Sam and David, they're adorable, but ultimately they don't really do anything. So I'm gonna give them a B. Sarah! Oh boy. How do I feel about Sarah? I think that she was adorable and spunky and had a fun personality and all that, but I did not like her impulsivity and inability to be accountable for her decisions and pressuring Matt into this whole like lying and doing a wedding fiasco. It just was a lot for me. She can go right next to Matt. They belong together. So D's for these guys. Serena! Season 6 Serena was really fun. This was my favorite line from the entire season.
Oh, come on. What can I say? I love life and I love men. Not your husband, though.
Not your husband, though. Killed me. So just because she has my favorite line in this season, even though she was a terrible person, I'm gonna give her a C. Sergeant/Detective Michaels. Yeah, B. I wish we had more information about him. We don't. I wish we did. Next, Shauna. Ooh. Because she's a cheater, she goes to F. All the cheaters that I'm seeing right now are right where they belong. Simon! Okay, I don't know how the people are going to feel about this, but Simon has moved to the number 1 spot. I adore Simon. I'm gonna put him at the top. Simon is my favorite character in 7th Heaven right now, as of season 6. Another photo of Simon. Simon when he was younger. I don't know how that got in there. Another one. Oh, I hate this guy. I hate him. He can go next to Mary. They're in love or whatever. What a terrible guy. I feel like the creators of 7th Heaven purely base all of their storylines off of like who they think is hot. There's not much substance to it all. It's just like, oh yeah, this guy's a hunk and he's tall and he's a firefighter, so obviously he's the right one for Mary. Veggie Mom! Near and dear to my heart in the F tier. Wilson! Ooh. I liked Wilson the most when he was broken up with Mary until he started dating Mary's friend and then like rubbing it in Mary's face. That was a not cool dude. So Wilson gets a D. I feel like that's appropriate. Wilson is a D tier character. Jeff. Oh, I included Jeff just because he was Mary's first love who vanished and we've never seen again. Supposedly best friends with Matt for many years. I liked Jeff and I'm sad that Jeff didn't stick around longer. I'm gonna give him a B. B is fine for Jeff. All these photos, by the way, I took the screenshots myself. I had to do a little extra work to find these guys. Annie's mom fading into heaven. I think Annie's mom becoming a ghost is one of my favorite things from this entire show. And I think she's an S tier character. George's dad abandons George and makes George think he's an orphan and then disappears. So F. This kid, Hunky Boy. I'm just going to call him Hunky Boy. I forgot his name. This is the kid who threatened to jump off a building because his mom bought him the wrong pants. To this day, I think this is the most unhinged storyline in all of 7th Heaven because I loved the insanity of that storyline so much. I'm going to give it an A. I'm gonna give Hunky Boy an A because of the giggles, the lulls, if you will. Oh, this guy, I forgot his name too. This was the guy that was the veteran who was super cute and old, but like refused to take help from anybody. This episode might have been one of my favorite episodes to like edit and make jokes about because he was so infuriating. I'm gonna give him a lower tier, but because I liked talking about it so much, we're gonna go with C. In the middle. He's a mid guy. This lady, I forgot her name. These two, both of these guys, I'm gonna give her a C. She's fine. And this guy, he was the worst. We're gonna put him in the F tier. Ted. His name is Ted. How come I remember his name and not her name? That's sad. F tier for Ted. Oh, Heather's. He looks like he's 35 and she was supposed to be 19 at the time. So that's why I was like, oh my God, he's so old. Not that 35 is old. He was way too old for Heather. And I feel like he was kind of selfish and not a very good dude. Oh yeah, and he was cheating on Heather. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. F tier for this guy. Andrew Nalos. I loved Andrew Nalos. He was simping so hard for Lucy. He was a bit pushy. He was a bit pushy with Lucy, but I liked him and he was good for her, I think. It's unfortunate that he broke up with her for a dumb reason, but thinking about him in hindsight gives me giggles. I feel like he belongs in the C tier. Andrew Nalos. This guy, oh my God, what was his name again? Roland? His name was Roland, the boss guy, the joke boss prosthetic arm storyline guy. He actually made a comment on my first Seventh Heaven video talking about how he was one of the characters, which made me feel super special. I like this guy. I liked him, even though he was a terrible boss. I feel about him the way I feel about Hunky Boy. What an absurd storyline. And it's so absurd that it becomes memorable and in hindsight really funny. So I think you get an A. Anyway, this is where I stand. This is the objective facts of the Seventh Heaven Ultimate Tier List. Make better choices than I made. If you think I made bad choices here, thanks for giving me some of your time today. Appreciate you much. Thanks for watching my videos. Have a great day. Bye.